Welcome. I'm Steve Adubato. It is my pleasure to introduce for the first time, joining us, Lauren Meehan, Director of Newark Arts Education Roundtable, which is...
Yes.
No, I'm asking.
Yes,
I'm curious.
which is, no, that's a great question. So we are a collective impact initiative, which is basically a fancy way of saying when you have a really big problem, you need a lot of people to help you solve it. So
What
instead
kind of problems are we talking about?
So we're talking about access to arts education. In the city of Newark specifically, we're place-based, so we focus exclusively on the public schools, the charter schools, and the parochial schools within the city of Newark.
What kind of barriers are we talking about for the children and young people in the city of Newark to get the kind of arts education they need?
So it's a host of different challenges. One is reduced funding. That's been a really critical piece, especially in the last 10 years, post-recession. There's less spending in a lot of communities around arts education. Different teacher evaluation systems that are really test-based. So a lot of time, classroom time that would have been spent on arts education has gone to testing. And so prioritizing it and finding the resources for it have been a challenge, but our work in the last 10 years has definitely made an impact. The district has hired a really phenomenal arts lead, Margaret L., and the new administration there under Roger Leone has been really supportive of our work as well too. Yes, has been really supportive.
Let me ask you, you've been playing the violin since you're 8 years old.
Yes.
What got you into, how did you get into playing the violin at such a young age?
So my public school, actually.
No kidding.
Yes, I went to the West Orange through the West Orange Public Schools, and so I had great general music through the 3rd grade, and then they sort of had this conversation with us. The band teacher would come in, the orchestra teacher would come in, they'd show you all the different instruments, and then you'd pick. And I actually didn't choose the violin initially. I chose the flute. But there were too many flutes in the band section. And because I have really good intonation, which is really important for a stringed instrument, my music teacher, my general music teacher, recommended that I actually take up the violin. As my parents can attest, playing a stringed instrument sounds very much like someone strangling a cat initially, till you get good at it. And so they were grateful when they finally heard Hot Cross Buns.
No, it's interesting. You are going to be part of a larger forum that we're having on arts education. Mm-hmm. There are 2 initiatives. One is the Grow Up Great initiative with PNC. The other initiative that we're a part of is an initiative called Right from the Start NJ. You'll see the website up as well as we're talking. It's about infants and toddlers growing up great and becoming the best they can be.
Absolutely.
What does that have to do with, I mean, talk about infants and toddlers, right?
Okay, so...
and arts education,
yeah,
music education.
There's actually a big push and a big initiative now through an organization called Cool Cat.
Cool Cat.
Yes, you can find a link to their website on ours. It's coolcatnewark.org, I believe. And their work is exclusively around this, how to help parents and preschool programs access high-quality arts education programming. It's also incentivized, so it's also a way to get parents more engaged in activities that are going on in their local community. So it might be something that the museum has run for years or the symphony has run for years, but is deepening its engagement through this incentivized program to encourage parents to bring their toddlers and preschoolers to programs. In fact, I think you're talking to Larry Tambouri later today.
Yeah, Larry's
School of the Arts. They're one of our partner organizations. They're one of our members. And they have a phenomenal preschool and toddler program as well.
Curious about something. What do you think, what is your sense and what does the research show? That for children who are exposed to music, to arts education at a very early age, what do you think it does for them in terms of their development?
So there's a lot of good data, which you can also find on our website, which is newarkartsid.org.
Can we put that up, the website? Good.
And you can find really good resources specifically around early childhood education. So there are 2 studies that have taken place in the last few years that show the strong social-emotional impact. So kids are more socially and emotionally intuitive when they've been exposed to creative learning at a very early age. It also tends that those students are better problem solvers. They're good critical thinkers. They're good team players. Because
I interrupted. Team players as well.
Yes, no, it's okay. Yeah, team players as well. And so it really helps young children, and this is all the way through the pipeline. It's not exclusive to preschoolers, but obviously the longer you have these exposures, the more impact they're going to have over your lifetime. But the focus, the drive to learn to participate in that activity, working with an ensemble, right? So you're creating the sound as a community often, especially in the preschool space, whether it's a song together or drumming or some kind of exercise that you're doing
What
as a
about
community.
confidence? Building
Definitely
confidence.
builds confidence. You know, we do some work now with VH1 Save the Music Foundation, who has come to Newark to invest in the music program in the public schools. And one of the things we noted from some of the initial feedback from those students is the confidence. They felt like they weren't good in school. There were things they weren't good at. And like, this is something I'm really good at. My family's really proud of me because I can do this.
Did you feel that?
I definitely felt that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was a pretty confident kid. And so.
You're a confident adult as well.
Thank you.
Well, as a kid,
Yeah, definitely as a kid.
you had a sense,
Yeah.
even before you were good
Even before I
at
was
playing
good.
the violin,
Yes.
you had confidence in what?
In my ability just to do something and do it really, really well. You know, it's not easy. So every time you sort of reach a new milestone, like
Right.
playing Hot Cross Buns, that was profound, but it was even more profound when I got to 1812 Overture. And so it's sort of, it challenges you in all of these ways. And it's kind of like, I compare it for some people to being like a marathoner. It's like you're always trying to best yourself. But at
personal best.
Your personal best. But then in the space of the orchestra or the band, you also have these teammates you can kind of lean on, and you're part of this community. One of my great experiences as a young person was in the New Jersey Intergenerational Orchestra, which is a multi-generational ensemble. It still exists. It's based, I think, in Berkeley Heights, founded by a music teacher many years ago, back in the 90s in Cranford, where she was teaching. And so my stand partner was like a senior citizen and became a mentor to me. And so I got all these really positive experiences from people who had completely different life experiences from me, who challenged me in different ways. I got to perform at Lincoln Center. I got to perform in all these venues, go play for Congress, play for the United
Would
Nations.
not have happened otherwise.
Would not have happened
Well, I mean,
otherwise.
I'm curious about this. You grew up in West Orange. For a kid in Newark, do you think it's even more important for a kid in a particularly challenged community from a socioeconomic point of view?
Absolutely,
How so?
and there's data for that as well too. So Catterall 2012, which is an NEA-funded study, looked at a lot of other different studies that evaluated the impact of arts education on young people. And what it found was not only does it have an impact on all young people, but it has an even greater impact in communities of need. So where there's lower income, more violence, you know, the sort of challenges that exist within often our urban communities here in New Jersey. Kids tended to have higher GPAs, better attendance rates. They were more civically engaged. And so it definitely has an impact on all young people, but an even stronger impact on young people in a community
love
like
what you
Newark. I absolutely love what I do.
It shows.
Thank you.
Looking forward to you joining us in the forum.
Absolutely.
Lauren Meehan, Director, Newark Arts Education Roundtable. Well done.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this.
I think at NJIT there are a lot of smart students.
I came to NJIT for mechanical engineering because with in-state, it's one of probably the top 3 schools for engineering.
It sort of creates a friendly competition where you know you can learn from them.
It's a great academic school.
I feel I'm being challenged, but at the same time, I love the classes I'm taking.
The atmosphere of being here is like being at an upstart company. It's that same kind of drive, that same kind of passion.
Also brought to you by Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. And by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey.